satisfied with the actions taken by the province's health minister. They say they plan to stay until they get what they demand.
Hi, my name is Patricia. I'm from Six Nations Reserve, Mohawk. My mother's a residential school survivor. Here to support the Attawapiskat youth and all Native youth to help become and better our people. We've been struggling for many years. I call it a multi-generational genocide, and we will overcome this.
I'm here today to support the youth, to support my people, to support Mother Earth. We all have to remember that we are all one, that I bleed like you bleed like me. I want our youth to be protected, and this is our future generation, and we must protect our future generations. I want people to ask themselves, what will be your answer when your child asks you, what did you do to help the Indigenous people of this land? What will be your answer?
Sure, brother.
Because my mom didn't want me to be there. She didn't want me to live in what she lived in. She didn't want to live in the corruption anymore. She didn't want to live without water. When I went up to visit, I got rashes from taking showers. I got sores from brushing my teeth. I heard of old people, elders, and children dying because no one brought them clean water. And that the water treatment plant that is there has no funding. Why is that?
Shame!
Shame! Why is that? That this is the only means of communicating with the government about these issues. They should be non-privatizing the northern store so that food can be accessible in all isolated reserves. Why do they fund the LCBO but not a food store?
Shame!
Why do they feed an LCBO but not the hospital, not the school?
Shame!
When I read an Indigenous course book here in Toronto, I had to drop the course because in that book it talked about Attawapiskat and the people that live there in past tense.
Wow.
I read that the De Beers went there and they mined the territory, and that the people that once lived there, it literally talks about us in past tense like we do not exist.
Shame.
Prove to me that the federal government plans to get us out of there. How are we the only country that is able to break a human right, the human right of water? And yet, we are the only country on the UN to not sign on to that human right. Go check on the website, rightoncanada.ca, and the people that run it in this building. It's right there. There's no way for any of you here today to be able to keep the government accountable to what they are doing. There's no way to find out if there's any more family support. There's no way to find out if anything actually happens. How is it that you will know if anything actually happened in Attawapiskat? Because when this happened with the housing crisis, nobody found out anything. And you know what happened? They sent up a bunch of refurbished houses and the pipes burst because they're built down here and they're not used to minus 50 degrees. And so then everybody that got those new houses got shoved back into their families. And so there's 4, maybe 5 generations of people in one house. Why is it we're able to give housing for other people, but not the people that originally were here in this country? Why are we called Aboriginal? Aboriginal. Ab means not. Original. I am original. I am Indigenous. And I deserve to be treated like that. I also deserve the right to my spiritual and cultural belief. But right now, what's going on with power, with the leadership, spiritual and cultural beliefs are not being considered. Everything is being done through councils, through chiefs, through conversations with offices. It is all done in this colonized way. Where is the spirit in this? Where is the ceremony in all of this? The people of the church, I was sitting there, and they tell these people, the native people, that if you go to sweat lodge, that if you go to powwow, that you're dancing with the devil. I was just up in Moosonee in December. They're still telling them this. In December. Like it's happening today. Last Sunday, a bunch of native people were told that they are dancing with the devil for doing their spiritual and religious beliefs. Shame! No support for the culture. And by separating us from our culture and forgetting who we are, now all we know what we want are youth centers, programs, councils, which are great, but they're colonized systems. We don't even remember what we need. We don't remember that we need to be connected to our families, to our elders. Our elders need to be teaching our children. And there needs to be understanding and a recognition of what happened with residential schools, and that there is a generational trauma. Funding only goes to residential school survivors currently. But those children of those survivors are just as bad. They passed on that pain. They passed on that suffering. And they passed it on to their children. People think it wasn't that long ago. There's people that you work with every day that went through these things. And there is no recognition, there is no repercussion, and there is no accountability to any level of government. This needs to change. I don't think that Trudeau going up will do anything. I think they'll take a lot of pictures, and then the world will think he did something when he didn't. So my recommendation is that all levels of government meet with the council and the community, elders and youth to create an action plan of each level of government and the community and the council. So what you're walking away with is a document signed by every single person there that says what they will do. And so thank you, miigwech, 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 because we wouldn't have got this far if it wasn't for our allies and our supporting us. And I know everyone in Attawapiskat appreciates this so much.
Burning branches of a tree, flaming this community, keeping warmth and light to see. Our sacred fire, sparked from earthly fuel we share, taking strength from our good air, and finding hate when some despair. Our sacred fire, join me if you travel by. Come watch the embers chase the sky. Come stoke the flames before they die. Our sacred fire. Kawe na bonida, kawe na bonida, kawe na bonida.
I just decided, you know what, enough is enough of another crisis in Canada where First Nations people are once again not being listened to by the government. And I think about the children, one as young as 9 years old, that contemplated suicide. If that were to happen to a child in the Toronto region, all of the necessary resources would be given to that child. So for Justin Trudeau not to act upon one of his campaign promises to enact 90 plus of the recommendations of the TRC, the Truth and Reconciliation, and at this point, still not go to Attawapiskat. There's something wrong here. They are rich off of the avails of the natural resources in which the Native people and all people, including yourselves here today, live off of. And for the Inuit people, for the Métis people, and for the First Nations people to be struggling at this point when there's so much wealth, it's absolutely disgusting. Residential school where Native kids were forcibly confined and were raped, murdered, starved, beaten by priests and nuns, where they were supposed to actually be learning. And at this point, there needs to be reconciliation, and nobody says to a Holocaust survivor that they need to get over it. That would never happen. That person would possibly be charged with a hate crime. So at this point, it's not up to the First Nations people to give a history lesson to a Canadian. It should be in the Canadian textbook. And also, people need to realize that they are privileged in this country. The Syrians, they came over here, they got help, they were able to stay in hotels for months on end, and they get help. So why can we not extend that kindness that Canada is well known for being a humanitarian country? Why are they not taking care of the First Nations people here first? It's not like we're asking for something that is so unfathomable. There are billions and trillions of dollars that is owed to us in trust funds, and the government does not want to give us our money. We are richer than Saudi Arabians. So with that point in mind, I just want to say it's not up to us to stand and watch. It's up to us to do what is right and continue to come here every day and support those people that are upstairs. Chimiigwech.
Holding us, loving us, protecting us the entire time. All love, and we're here to do the same. So Black and Indigenous solidarity, Black and Indigenous solidarity, Black and Indigenous solidarity, Black and Indigenous solidarity. Ashe. Indian Act and by the reserve system, and the fact that we only got that much money to deal with a long-standing 500-year-long system is ridiculous. That onus should not be put on our First Nations and our young people who are dying. That onus needs to be put on the Canadian government, and that's where the responsibility lies, not on our young people who are dying.
O Canada, our home on native land, this land which is stolen is said to be my home, where the natives have been pushed out into the cold. How can I be proud of a country like this, where the people who should be on top are at the bottom of the list? Open arms and knowledge of how to survive is the way Europeans were greeted when their boats arrived. Alcohol, drugs, abuse are payments natives received. forced to live on reserves and find their own way of means? When will we finally realize that the truth will set us free? Free from all the lies within our history. It's time we give them what they deserve and treat them the best we can, starting with an apology and putting the power back into their hands. Then, to change one word in the anthem, I'd be much happier to stand if it said, "Oh Canada, our home on native land."